Aloha. As Kalama said, I'm here with a group called Mana, as well as my family. And we're here, first of all, to express our aloha for the Elders Ohana, because as people of this aina, that's what we do first. We love those who have been hurt. We love those that have been injured. We surround them with whatever healing energy we can, even in a time of great loss and tragedy and just horrific violence such as this. Our first thoughts go to them, to the Elders Ohana. I didn't know Kollin, but when I look at his picture, when the last trial happened and we marched through Waikiki to McDonald's, and we stood there right at the place where he had been murdered, the first thoughts that came to my mind then were of all my friends, classmates, cousins, young men who I've known throughout my life who go out and party and get a little bit rowdy when they're in Waikiki, and they, get a little bit kolohe with the tourists, and not a single one of them ever deserved to die, and neither did Kollin. And when I think of those young men, I think of how they have grown into powerful and contributing kane in our communities, fathers, grandfathers, and that's been robbed from the Elders Ohana, that this young man would grow into that potential to be someone who could continue to be the heartbeat of their Ohana. So we first of all stand with them and feel their loss. And second of all, one of the things that MANA stands for is Hawaiian independence and demilitarization, and the deoccupation of Hawaii from the U.S. military. And one of the things that we see from this case is that the military doesn't make us safer. The militarization of our place actually puts us at more danger, So what we're wanting is genuine security, real safety, control over our aina again, the ability to live our lives and be who we are in our families and communities without the fear that we'll be gunned down by forces who have been told that locals are hostile, that we're crazy, that we have it out for them. So those are the things that we fight for. So I hope that all of us here today, as we're gathering and marching, can carry those two things at the very same time with us, this great love and aloha that drives who we are, but also this outrage and commitment to really creating genuine security for our home. Mahalo.
I wanted to share something from a statement that the Elders Ohana put together. And not everyone has been able to hear this statement. We put it out on the site, but I wanted to read it so that the voice of Kollin and his family and the Elders Ohana is present with us, even though right now their bodies cannot be, because their hearts are broken. Nothing will ever bring Kollin back to us. We will never hear his contagious laugh, feel his touch, hear his voice, or see his future children. The hole in our hearts from the loss of Kollin can never be mended. Christopher Dede is a very irresponsible, cowardly individual that took away the heartbeat of our family and forever changed us. Because of the poor decisions he made that tragic night, including drinking and walking our Waikiki streets with a loaded personal firearm, we can never forgive him. Moving forward, our mission is to make sure that this never happens to another one of our sons or daughters here in Hawaii. We will continue to work with all the groups and individuals that supported us since our tragic loss of Kollin to ensure that no other parent will ever need to suffer through this kind of unnecessary loss of their own child. In honor of Kollin, we are currently working on a new law which we will name the Kollin Elderts Law. This law will make it illegal for any public servant, such as police officers and special agents, from consuming any amount of alcohol while carrying a firearm, whether on or off duty. If this new law saves the life of just one person, Kollin's short life will not be lost in vain.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Now! We demand justice now! Justice for Kollin Elderts now! Justice for all victims of a racist system! Join us and show your support and your outrage! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
He's a young man who is known for when you're in the neighborhood Kailua. If you lose your dogs, who brings them back to you? Kollin. If he notices that if you're having a hard time and you're sick and your lawn starts getting overgrown, who came over to help take care of that lawn? It was Kollin. When you were down and you were sad in the family, who was the one that made you laugh and cry till you wanted to cry? The family says it was Kollin. They called him the heartbeat of their family. And this is what was stolen from them. Dee stole it from them. And the family has called him a coward. Coward. He picked on someone. He went to this McDonald's drunk, and he multiple times reached for his gun. He knew he could say or do anything because he knew he had immunity. He knew as a law enforcement agent that he would have free will and free recourse to do whatever he wanted to do, to take a life. And he was gunning for it. He came here after locals. He knew he was going to take someone down, and by God, he did it. He murdered Kollin. Wait.
We're here today to express our support for the family of Kollin Elderts and to express our outrage and our horror over this verdict. This verdict is a travesty. Despite what the jury has announced, we know that Christopher Dede murdered Kollin Elderts. Dede was not here to protect our community. He was here terrorizing our community. And now, almost 3 years after that criminal APEC conference, we feel the trauma of his murder all over again. We demand that Dede's badge be revoked, that he be fired from his job, he should be convicted and sent to prison, and he should offer his apology to the Elderts family for the irrevocable harm he has caused and plead for their forgiveness. Maybe then the path to justice and healing could begin. But we all know this system will not deliver justice or healing. The Kanaka Maoli community knows this. Young men of color all over the continent know this. The people in Gaza know this. But that knowledge will not stop us from demanding justice. We demand real justice and genuine security. Not the security that they are selling us, not the security of another war or another militarized police force. We won't give up hope that another world is possible. And even on this sad day, we march together knowing that no act of solidarity is in vain. To the family of Kollin Elderts, we stand with you, and we're here to let you know that you do not grieve alone. We demand justice for Kollin by fighting for a law in his name to forbid any police officer from drinking alcohol or doing drugs while carrying a gun. It should be illegal to do so, whether an officer is on duty or whether the officer is off duty. We're women's voices, women speak, and we demand genuine security, genuine peace, and genuine sovereignty for our families, our communities, and our precious island home. Mahalo, malama pono.
People need to express their outrage and demand justice now. Just as people in Ferguson are taking to the streets and demanding justice. Hands up, don't shoot. 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 Hands up, don't shoot.
I'm Liz with World Can't Wait. Here we are, almost 3 years and 2 trials since Kollin Elderts was murdered by Christopher Deedy. Sadly, the death of Kollin Elderts is far from an isolated incident. 3 months after Kollin was killed, Trayvon Martin was shot and killed for walking home with an iced tea and a pack of Skittles. Like Kollin's, Trayvon's murderer also walked away a free man. Less than a month ago, Eric Gardner was killed by NYPD with an illegal chokehold for selling cigarettes on the street. Less than a week ago, police shot and killed Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri for simply walking down the street. People have had enough. People who this system see as less than human have stood up in Ferguson. People around the world have heard them. The military-style assault on the people of Ferguson is making news around the world. So is the struggle of the people. It was a wake-up call and a call to stand up. And that's why we're here tonight. Only mass resistance can provide justice for Kollin Elderts and other victims of police brutality. We stand in solidarity with the family of Kollin Elderts and renew our commitment to fight for justice for Kollin Elderts and all victims of this racist system and its murderous enforcers. Enough is enough. We say no more. Justice for Kollin Elderts and all victims of a racist system. We demand justice.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Somebody walked up to me in my shirt and said, "Why are you wearing the shirt? That's a Hawaiian issue." It outraged me. This is a human issue. It's not just a Hawaiian issue. Although there are particularities about the racism in Hawaii and what's happening to the Hawaiian people who are facing mass incarceration way out of proportion to any other part of the population, who are more often gunned down in the street, whose youth are more often jacked up. And if we don't stand up with them as haoles, we're less than human and we're racist. We're not taking care of the business we have to take care of. And I really want to call on people to go talk to your friends. Get over this that's going on. And let's stand together, all races, all religions, all people, regardless of whether you're a Buddhist, a Christian, a Muslim. Come together and stand against police brutality. We are the only hope that we have. We are the people who have to stand up, who have to fight this whole racist system, who have to fight for justice. Thanks a lot.
Is an outrage and an injustice for people everywhere. Kollin Elderts, Trayvon Martin, Aaron Rodgers, Michael Brown, victims of a racist system. Vegans protest for Kollin
Kalana called me last night and asked me to come down, and I was certainly going to come down to be here. But she said she wanted me to say some words, and I didn't know whether I could or not. There's so much anger in our household, and grief and guilt too, because I'm one of the people who never went down to that courtroom. So I'll speak for the people who never went to the courtroom and who expected that, you know, in this justice system, there is justice to be had. You know, it's a jury system, and you know that when juries are put together, not everybody sees these things the same way. And you know that there are people who think that there was nothing wrong with what Agent Didi did because of where they come from and what they believe, and how they're trained and how they see their own country. But you gotta believe that in a place like Hawaii, that the rest of the jurors would be able to communicate the values and the attitudes and the morality of this place, so that you wouldn't get a hung jury on what is, you know, obviously true. This is an unlawful killing. It's an unlawful killing. It's wrong. And you can look at somebody like Agent Didi and you can say, well, you know, man, this guy didn't know what the hell he was doing, that he was stuck in a place that he didn't understand, and he was brought here by the state of Hawaii and by the United States government into a situation that should never have been, because there was never any kind of threat to any of the people who were conducting APEC in 2011. We know that. It was stupid for them to pay all that money for all of that security, and they put people like this on the streets. And they're all responsible, every one of them. And here's another thing. I mean, and it's the gun laws, and it's the expectations in America that you can pack a gun, you can walk around, it's disgusting. And it happens in so many places in America where something like this it's every day. But it shouldn't happen here. And I'm tired. I'm really tired of having to defend every single thing that's good about this place to people who don't understand it. And so, you know what? I've had enough. I've said enough. They ought to try him again. They ought to try him 4 times, 5 times if they need to, until they find him guilty. And we ought to start going down to the courthouse.
a great spirit. He was the heartbeat of their family, the voice of their ohana. You can see it in the video that he targeted them because his spirit was too big. It was too great. And in this world, in this occupied Hawaii, we're not supposed to have great spirits. They want us to bow down. They want us to bend our knee. And when they step on our necks, they want us to say thank you. So we're here right now to honor Collin's memory. Here is where he took his last breath in this tiny little McDonald's. And I'd like everybody to gather here for a minute. Try to feel the pain that the family has felt. In the hopes that we can lift some of that burden. Because right now the pain is crushing his family, it's crushing their hearts. They can't even be here today right now. They can't be here tonight because that's what they said. It would be too much. So if everyone here could for a moment try to lift that burden and send our mana'o to the family. Olu, olu.
At least connect to somebody. We can do some pulling. Gonna do pulling. You can disconnect, become close. As long as you touch it, you'll be near somebody.